Hey, how's everyone doing? Hey, a little bonus material for Sunday on the 6th of October 2024 from Roger's Hot Rod Garage and Lawnmower Repair Shop right now. So everybody knows in my other videos, this is my John Deere 400. It's an early 70s model, I'm not quite sure, but look, I knocked this out last night. I got these at, I think it was Farm Supply or Rural King someplace in the South. Threw myself some paint on here, not professional job, but these are LEDs. And I also added this little support bar up here because I added this about 4 months ago. And then even with those big giant bolts back here, this thing was going down. So now it's solid, it's not gonna move anymore. So I can basically pull my trailer around. This is a hydrostatic drive model. And I just pulled off the mower deck. There's a triple down here, and I think it's a 60-inch. And you turn everything around, it takes you no more than like 5 minutes, and you slide everything out the side. So look, the problem I'm having with this thing, although I just kind of refurbished this thing, got the motor running great again after I replaced the coil, is this fancy little, I call it a squirrel trap right here. But look, I replaced this bearing in here, I replaced this bearing in here, reassembled everything, but I think the belt is basically hatted. Or if you're doing the troubleshooting on this thing, well, why is the belt twisting off and slipping? See right here where it twists? I think the reason that's happening is because, look right in here, this is literally the tensioning spring for this entire system over here. So watch this. I mean, there's no tension on it whatsoever. So what I want to do is either put a new spring in here, which I don't want to do because I don't have one, either move this hole a little bit over, which is kind of difficult. But what I want to do, what I can get to on the top, is I'm going to take this right here, I'm going to weld a piece on top of this, since I got plenty of room to go up and down right here, see that? And what I want to do is I just want to put maybe a ½ an inch over here, just so it puts a little bit more tension. You see how that tension is working on everything? By me pushing it just a little bit, it puts tension on everything. So that's the plan. So this is actually a drive system. So there's your actual, drive shaft that comes from the PTO, which is way down here. So this is not your typical riding lawnmower that you get from Sears or a Murray. This thing's actually got pretty high quality stuff on it. I got PTO, I got a front snow blower on here. I can actually put one of those little turn things to clean the driveway. And this right here is automatically moves your mower deck up and down. But anyway, let me go over here and find folks at eBay sent me this. And this is actually a John Deere. There's the part number on here. Again, this is a 60-inch mower deck. I kind of refurbished it and painted it this summer, early this summer, and used it for that big giant pasture out there. But here is, that's still original here. So if you don't have a little diagram like this, make sure you just get out your cell phone and take a picture of it a couple of different times, because I'll tell you what, if I didn't put that, I'll figure it out eventually, but it saves you a lot of headache. So got a couple things to do. Take the old belt off. I thought I actually had to remove this, but if I think about it, since there's actually nothing underneath here, I don't think I even have to take anything off. It's just a matter of getting the belt off and then putting it back exactly the way it was. These are this is a tensioner here, or a backside. This is a V-belt. This is a flat one, so it goes on the back of the belt. So as long as I put it back on here, add a little bit of tension right here, I think Bob's your uncle, and this thing will be back down here. And there are all the holes right here. Now what I don't do is I don't do the screws on these things. I just pop rivet them in, and then it took me like less than a minute just to drill the big giant pop rivets back out. So there they are. So anyway, that's the plan right now on a Sunday, and I'll get back with you. Stay tuned. All right, so here's my game plan. I'm gonna make a little cut right about here. See that right there? I'm just gonna jam this up here, get the cutoff wheel, cut it right here, bend this thing out about a ½ an inch this way, so that hole is sitting right there, and then just fill in the weld right here. That should be easy. Again, there's no real tension on here. I just want this hole to be about a ½ an inch over here, so the spring actually starts working again. That's the plan. All right, now, so there's my line. You see the little blue line right there? Here, let me pick up the GoPro. There's my blue line, and I'm just trying to get it about a 1/4 inch up here, which would be about a 1/2 inch down here. Now that's not a science, that's just North Carolina way of doing things. So yeah, look at that. Now I just want to bend this out just a little bit. See how that's, well, I can actually do that by holding the camera, so I want you guys to see this. I'm just adding a little bit more spring pressure on here by just moving that hole a little bit out right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my vice grips here. Hold on. Pop that one off of there. This one can stay on. And now, see where that line is at back there? I can actually see how much past that tension point I got to move that line out right there. So again, putting more pressure on the spring right there. That's all the thing I'm doing. All right, look, I got my welder turned on right now. I got to fill this little gap up from here. That should be easy because that's a fairly thick piece of metal right here. What is that? Not a 1/4 inch, but it's almost a 1/4 inch, whatever that is in millimeters. And look, I found out, I just looked back here, this thing has been welded before, so the original point right here for this advantage angle right here, looks like it might be off anyway, so I'm just going to put it, again, put a little bit more tension on the spring right here is the only thing I'm doing. But look, got a little piece of copper right here. Let me show you what I'm going to use that for. Take it over here, grab yourself a hammer, and then just beat it a couple times. Hold on. See, I'm trying to do this with one hand. Sorry about that, folks. So why is Roger doing that in Roger's Hot Rod Garage / lawnmower repair shop? Is because copper, you can lay it right underneath here. See here? And now I can weld that without worrying about, you know, this welding to that, or I get splatter and shit all over the place, because copper won't weld to metal. At least it won't be with this MIG welder right here. So give me a second here. Get a nice little, see how I'm gonna put that little wire right in that hole right there. That's gonna be my first bead right down in here. Here we go. Close your eyes. I'm just going back and forth and close up the little valley from the top. And I got this thing set at a pretty high rate, like I think number 5 out of 6 that big giant Lorsch M222 will do over there. And you can see that's a nice fat bead. I ain't gonna worry about that coming apart again. Sorry, I didn't tell you to close your eyes on that one. Love it when it does that. And then one more right back here. All right, Bob's your uncle. There's no way that that's coming apart right there. You know what? I'm going to clean this up right here so I can sleep better at night. There you go. That'll hold, and I got more pressure on that thing right now. So let me let that cool down. I'll throw a little paint on it real quick, and then see what my spring pressure is going to do. And then I'm going to take this belt off and solve that spaghetti problem I have right now with that new belt. Let's see how hot that thing is. Oh yeah. All right, little Windex to cool that down. I don't want to be here all day. All right, hey, moment of truth right now. I got the tension completely removed right now, so I should be able to take this entire belt assembly off without having to remove this right here. I think that should work. Yeah, because that should just drop down. Come on, baby, drop down. I'm doing this with one hand, so there you go, look at that. All right, so I can't get this pulley off right here, or this belt off, because it's too close right here, but let me do my little He-Man. Einstein, right? Ah! So let me show you this right here. And look, Wally, Coyote, Super Genius. I locked those both right here, so that right there is preventing it from flipping over. Now I gotta find, where's it at? That one right there is about right here someplace. There it is right there. Oh great, it's gonna be a while to get off of there. Oh yes sir. And this is the other one I replaced right here. That is running smooth. It runs this way actually. And this one I didn't replace right here. Okay, but I got the belt is called this one, so it's not turning right now. But obviously I'll sharpen these up since I'm down here. But look, that's how you tell right there. If you got any play back and forth, no play, a little play up and down, end play. I'm worried about it. I'm talking about right here, in and out, in and out. That means your bearings got too much play, and then hence, you'll hear them, they'll start making some noise. And I'll get rid of all this crap, because again, it's the end of the season here. And I get my grandkids out here, they love pulling stuff like this off of here. This is good stuff here. I like penetrating, old Germans call it caramba. This is good stuff right here. All right, let that soak for just a second. All right, folks, moment of truth to see whether I ordered the right part. So this is the old one, obviously, and this is the new one from agnlawn.com in Wentzville, Montana, 63385. And the part number for the 60-inch John Deere deck is M48444. M48444. So freeze frame if you want to actually copy that right now. Never mind my address on there, okay? So check this out. Oh, nervous. And I got my screwdriver hooked up right here. Just so you see that, my screwdriver. I'm gonna put both of these over this edge. Now, if the old belt's a little bit longer, that's perfectly fine, because that old girl has been stretched. And like I suspected, the old one is just a little bit longer. Old one, new one. Old one, new one. All right, hey, about 45 minutes later, another fine home cooked meal by Honey Bunny. So I got myself my belly full right now, and then moving back to the project. Hey, look, you know my philosophy on keeping the place nice and clean. That doesn't mean that if you've got crap thrown all over the place, you're not going to do a quality job when you're doing this or putting in a small block Chevy or doing whatever you're going to do in the garage. But me personally, I just like to have it clean. I just like to have it nice and neat. And when you get through with a certain phase of your project, you clean it up and you move on. Like, this is not supposed to be here right now. We got to throw that away. I'm not that anal about it, but that's just me personally. That belt right there, I'll keep that as a spare. That's the one that came off of it with just a little bit too much slack. And this right here is just all the stuff that I kind of like peeled off of this thing. But look, the only thing I got left to do right now is to snake this brand new John Deere original equipment belt all around here, all around there. Put the spring tensioner back on it, according to this right here. Bolt the cap back on here. Again, I'm going to rivet this on here, and then slide this whole assemblage down up underneath here. John Deere actually back in the 70s is a really cool system. You actually even flip this wheel around. Takes like 3 seconds. Pull that pin out, flip the wheel around, and then you literally slide up underneath here, and you hook up this, you hook up that, a couple other little things up in here, and Bob's your uncle. And then you put your little shaft on right here, which I'm not going to touch right now because it's all greasy. I wear gloves. You slide this up right here, pop it on that PTO, that shaft down there, the drive shaft, and the thing works absolutely cool. But look, this is a project I was kind of avoiding. I was using my alternate lawnmower, which is a John Deere 116, 16 horsepower, also a coupler motor. But as you know, this thing right here is a beast. So let me stop yapping right now, put that belt on there, and get this video buttoned up. All right, I'm gonna see if I can actually put this thing together without even looking at the diagram. which is right over there, but this is actually not that difficult because anywhere where there's a V, it's on this side of the belt, and anywhere where it's flat, it's on one of these idler pulleys right here. So this is actually a two-hand kind of job. So I'm going to put the camera down because I left my tripod in the other vehicle, which is already parked, and I'm just going to snake this around here, and Bob's your uncle. I'll figure this one out in a couple of seconds. This is a new belt, so obviously you saw in the previous part of the video that it's a little bit shorter, like 1.5 inches shorter because the other one's stretched. So this right here, I always put a whole lot of grease on here and just lube them up a little bit. I take a little screwdriver, this little homemade Craftsman tool. I put a hook in it. I don't make it every single time, but I use this for pulling big springs. Do is you hook that right up in there, and then you pull the spring and let the spring slide it down here, especially if it's got grease on it like this one does. It'll pop right back on here. And then this right now will just tension back and forth. That's the idle. So the spring actually has a lot of pressure on it. I've added that little 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch, 1/2 inch on here. Put a little bit more pressure on here. And now this is just the way I do this. I haven't practiced yet, but I'm going to show you how I put these things on here. Let me see if I can get this camera to focus down there. Is I got the whole thing down here, and I just push this on here by pushing down. I'm going to show you that from the top right here. You see this right here? And just push it down. Now I got to put the camera down and hold it with 2 hands. But what I'm going to do here is just work this thing around here, just like this right here. And watch this. Now it gets kind of tight, because once it pops up in there, it'll be in the groove. And don't get your finger caught in here. Hold on, I'm gonna touch it right now, watch this. There it is. So now it's up in there, and that whole assembly is nice and tight up in here. Now this belt, now it's like a banjo right now, but believe me, it's actually gonna loosen up a whole lot the first time you run it. And you can still see you got play up in here, and when you do this, see that movement I got back and forth? That's what I'm looking for. I don't actually like that spring rubbing on the bottom right there, but there's nothing I'm gonna do about that right now except for flipping the spring around, which, you know what, I ain't worried about it right now. All right, I'm not gonna lie, that spring right there bothered me, so what I did is I put this little support underneath here, took my piece of wood right there, and whacked it with my enforcer. So now I'll put a little small angle going up right here, this little angle going up, and if I pull this back, I'll get this screwdriver back out of here. Girl ain't rubbing no more. Hold on, let me see if it rubs. Look at that. I will sleep better at night right now. Simple little stuff like that is what I like to do. All right, now don't tell anybody underneath the cover there's a little bit of flat black. That's perfectly fine right there. All right, final check here. Look at that. Looks like a Swiss clock perfecto. So now, put this underneath here. This is kind of like a 5-hand job right here. Or just sink it through. Up. Come on, baby. There we go. Now I'm gonna get my rivet gun and just pop these rivets in here. And that's a pretty simple process right there. All right, rivet gun, nothing special about that. And I don't know what the size of these are, but they're pretty good size rivets right here. So pop them in here, push down first. There it is. And then go find the first one in here and pop it down in there. Perfecto. Now, so John Deere thought about this. That's why these are 180 degrees out. So you literally just take these wheels, you pull these plugs up, put these wheels sideways, and first time go here, See if I can just literally just shove it up underneath here. Look at that. Somebody was a super genius. And now the only thing you got to watch out for is you've got these little bitty, they actually adjust the moor deck up and down, and what you got to do is just kind of like push these up in here. There you go. Okay, now that one's passed. That's got to go around and do the other one right now. Works like a charm. See if I can actually show you how the shaft goes up in here. It's pretty simple. See, it slides back and forth. So what you got to do is you got to pull this collar back right here. Real simple. That's why I got the gloves on, because this thing is just nasty dirty. But look upside down here. Slide it in. Slide the collar back. I'll go ahead and get my other hand dirty. There. See this little pin right here? You pull this pin out and it locks in. Locks out, locks in, so you lock it out. Then you put your GoPro camera down. That's not what John Deere says, but that's what I'm going to show you guys how to do this thing. Or just how to, and then you take this piece down here, you push it up in there, and once you get it up in there, you let the pin go free. And now you just have to move the moor deck back with your hand just a little bit, and it should go pop once it finds that hole. Come on, baby. Let's go back and forth a little bit. I don't want to have my finger down up in there. There it is. And so what happened here is that little pin popped in. You see it right there? And then now you take this little piece right here that the previous owner, sorry about the audio in the 50-60 hertz, but I'll fix that in the next video. You drop that little pin right up in here, and it stops that thing from inadvertently coming out backwards. I showed you it on the other side, and I've used the word inadvertently twice now, so I can get a check mark for using big words. And the rest of the stuff is easy. These pins right here go right down here, and the only thing I do is I just go ahead and put a little block up underneath here, and that saves you from lifting it back. Look folks, this has been like about 6-7 minutes right now, and I'm almost done. And then you slide this little thing from the front end here, like that. Get my hand down in here. Turn this around. It goes right up in there. Locks. That's one side. I'll go do the other side of here real quick. Again, there's no pressure on these things yet. Push it right up in here. Let that thing flop up in there, completely locked. And now the only thing I gotta do, I'm gonna pull my camera out here, do this all at one time, is they've got this little fancy mechanism, and you pull this up in here, and yep, you turn it like that. I put both of those up in here, and I got grease on these things. I'm gonna show you this real quick. See it right there? And now you just lift this lever up right here, and it pops it in a little hole down there, and the same thing, these little things pop right here, and Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. Same thing on that side. Again, and you pull this out right here, put it in the lock position. That one's not wanting to stay, so that's okay. I'll have to use 3 hands. And then just pull this lever right here in, and it should pop right up in there. That one's in. I'll pull this lever back a little bit, and it'll pop in that little hole right there, way down there on the other end. Gotta get up and get a little honk on this thing, and you should hear a successful little bank. Bam! That's it. The moor deck raised up slightly. I'll lift with my back and not with my legs. Right there. Go around the other side. Same thing right here. And now it's suspended on the actual holders right here. And again, this is a hydraulic deck, so it's going to do all the work for me. And let's get this thing cranked up and see if the project is a success or not a success. All right, this is turned into my spare belt right now. So John Deere with 60-inch moor deck triple, 6 October 2024. Let's go make sure this thing actually cranks up and runs. All right, folks. Hey, look, I got this thing buttoned up. It's about 8 o'clock at night over here on a Sunday evening, but this thing doesn't make a whole lot of noise. And before I go on my road trip down southeast and then south and over to the west and then back up north again, I just want to check it out. Otherwise, it'll be eating on my brain. 99.999%. This thing is actually going to crank up. The motor's cold on this thing, so stay tuned. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. But I'll be back in just a couple of seconds, so hold on. All right. That's my fuel pump clicking, choke, PTO, everything's good. This thing rocks, so everything works on it. I didn't expect it not to work, but and again, thanks for watching and thanks for making my channel go. Really appreciate that. That's it for tonight. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this content. I don't know what happened, but it looks like all the damn flamingos passed away. I guess it got too cold last night and they froze to death. But anyway, that's it for the flamingos.